The reason I'm reaching out is because my fiancé, 22M, and I, 21F, need help with a situation that recently came to our attention on September 3rd. My fiancé's parents are extremely religious, but they've treated his sister, 15F, worse than him. When he was growing up, they didn't force him to attend church like they did with her, and he admits that he was a golden child. He would miss church and youth activities due to sports, and their relationship was fine when he moved out because they weren't as strict with him. He was allowed to work and have secular friends, and they didn't impose purity expectations on him as they did with his sister. However, we were recently made aware of something that has compelled us to rescind their invitation before considering cutting them out of our lives completely. We want to seek advice before taking such a significant step. His dad made a Facebook rant about discovering his sister preferring girls through parental controls revealing search history. He also ranted about the importance of such controls and mentioned speaking to someone at church who may share his views. However, on September 3rd, she is scheduled to be prayed over during the service, and we're concerned about her well-being and the apparent pressure for her to apologize. We want to know if there's anything we can do. The church is fairly large, with over 1,000 members, and we plan to uninvite anyone who attends that Sunday in agreement with her parents, but the wedding isn't our priority right now. Is there any way we can assist her in this difficult situation while maintaining a connection with her parents? We would especially appreciate hearing from anyone who has experienced similar situations with unaccepting parents. Update 1. My fiancé was able to call his dad shortly after my first post, and he asked if we could come up and see them this week. He didn't engage in a confrontation on the phone because we thought that might jeopardize our chances of seeing her, or risk being cut off for disagreeing, which is why we haven't rescinded their wedding invitations or taken any hasty actions. He asked about coming to attend church with them on Sunday in light of the post, and his dad agreed. We are also planning to come on Saturday, spend the night, and do something together on Saturday afternoon. The reason we asked if we could go to church with them was because of an idea I had, and I'd like to discuss it here. My fiancé asked if we could take her shopping during our visit, and we've done so in the past without her parents. If she expresses discomfort with what her parents are making her do at church, would that be sufficient reason to take her somewhere else, such as a hotel or back to our place, to avoid the situation if she desires? Or would this potentially interfere with any legal avenues for taking her in before she turns 18? Some people have suggested that she should be old enough to decide where she goes, but could her parents accuse us of kidnapping and forcibly take her back? This is our current situation, and we are contemplating consulting with a lawyer. We have identified some options this week that we are considering reaching out to. I plan to share this on a legal subreddit, but we're open to any advice we can get, especially from those who have experienced something similar. Update 2. I couldn't update sooner because the past few weeks have been challenging, but we've received a lot of great advice, including one in particular that I'll highlight momentarily. Many people suggested that we needed to consult with an actual family lawyer for advice instead of relying on Reddit, and that's what we've done since our previous post. We initially came to Reddit because we had less than a week until his sister would essentially be outed to the church. As mentioned in our update, and later confirmed by the lawyer we consulted, we now understand that attempting to remove his sister from the situation on September 3rd would have been a terrible idea, potentially resulting in his parents pressing charges for kidnapping. This emotional idea was rightfully criticized by many in our update, after several had suggested taking her for a drive to remove her from that Sunday in our first post. When September 3rd arrived, we were able to stay at her parents' home for the weekend after my fiancé received permission in our update post. We also had a chance to talk to her parents on Saturday. Before delving into what was said, someone in our update made a comment suggesting that we don't rock the boat with her parents. Instead, we should try to show his sister a healthy, straight relationship so that we can be a part of her life and provide her with a place to vent if needed. We both liked this idea and decided not to rock the boat when we saw them, but my fiancé has struggled in the aftermath of that weekend, which I'll get to later. Long story short, her parents informed us that they're going to have her talk to someone, a leader at church, about her liking girls. They mentioned receiving prayers from others who saw the Facebook post, as well as those they reached out to for support. The only issue we challenged them on was why they felt the need to publicly disclose her personal preferences on Facebook. In response, her father explained that she needed support from others who might help persuade her to change or pray for her. When we suggested trying to be a positive example of a straight couple, they liked the idea and expressed hope that our wedding would serve as a positive influence for her. Additionally, they mentioned that college would be off the table for her unless she showed a willingness to change, and this was in addition to the privileges they had already taken away. We weren't able to have a one-on-one conversation with her on Saturday because she mostly stayed in her room, aside from exchanging greetings. She also had dinner in her room. On Sunday, she rode in her parents' car while we followed them to church. At some point after the worship session, one of the pastors invited them to come on stage, and they essentially prayed for her while laying hands on her for about 5 minutes. My fiancé described it as brief, similar to how they occasionally dedicate babies on Sunday mornings, with a pastor praying over a newborn. The main difference was that a pastor informed the congregation that she was struggling internally with her orientation, and the prayer involved rebuking worldly influences, friends, and certain types of media that they believed played a role in her situation. Regarding his sister, she maintained a straight face and didn't cry or express any emotion, and her parents didn't ask her to say anything either. After the event, Her parents took us to lunch, and she remained rather quiet, glued to her phone, despite her parents telling her what a great job she did. We left shortly after lunch because we had work on Monday, but her parents agreed to hang out with us again soon. When I asked about the possibility of talking to her ourselves to try to connect with her, they said we could do so next time we visited, although things have been difficult with my fiancé since then. My fiancé really wanted to go to support his sister, and he made the call to his dad to get permission to stay at their home over the weekend too. However, while some people approached their family and talked to his sister/her parents after the service, others engaged my fiancé, asking how he was. He mentioned that it bothered him for a few days afterward. Having grown up in that church, he unexpectedly found being there somewhat traumatic. Some people asked about why he stopped attending, among other things, and he has since had second thoughts about maintaining contact with his parents for his sister's sake. In short, he said that it was challenging not to blow up at them and to put on a facade for those 2 days. He has been hyper-focused on it in the past few weeks as well. He mentioned that the trauma has been eating at him while he's at work, awakening some memories and trauma from his past that he may have forgotten about since living away from his family as an adult. He now wants to uninvite not just his parents, but every Christian relative that he's aware of from our wedding. While I have no issue uninviting people from our wedding and initially wanted to uninvite his parents, which we decided against to maintain a connection with his sister, he expresses a desire to extend the uninvitation to every Christian he knows. He mentions wanting to talk to a therapist, but not for couples therapy. He has some unshared childhood trauma, and I respect his space until he's ready to talk about it, even if he never does. He thinks a therapist might suggest prioritizing his upcoming marriage and mental health over his sister, and I could see that honestly too. My commitment is first and foremost to him, as it should be in marriage. For now, he's actively searching for a therapist that accepts his insurance, and I encouraged him to prioritize what's best for him first, as it's challenging to help others while in pain yourself. So, we're currently waiting to see what comes from therapy.